Welcome back, everyone. I am Sophia Worrell, and now that I have laid the foundation and set the framework, we can use the guide of this ideal family that I'm about to present as a way to fill in the gaps as we progress forward, now more informed. So today I'm going to start from the topic: the training begins. In Candy Crush Saga, this fun game takes players through level after level. In order to pass on to another level, the player has to master the challenge in that particular level. The first levels are relatively easy, and the player can enjoy several stages without losing any lives. However, if the player cannot pass and loses all of the lives given, the game will automatically pause for a particular set of time so that the player can earn back those lives. The player can wait, or if they have earned tokens along the way, can pay a fee to keep on playing. However, as the levels go on, they have increasingly more difficulty. The games sometimes do not feel like fun, as there are certain elements of the games that prevent the player from overcoming the challenge. But the game offers a number of boosters within the game or on a daily basis for the player to use at any time. This presents an interesting change in how the levels can be passed. The players has to make some critical decisions. One, they have to think about the best time to use the boosters. Two, they must decide what particular booster to use depending on the challenge. And three, they have to figure out whether they should depend on a booster or use their own skill. But there's always an interesting twist to the game as well. Sometimes it just produces a booster in the right order and the player gains victory over a very difficult level. This is the same with any other game and the game of life. The boosters in the game of life are people in our lives. They're there to help us at every level. But we must play the game right. We cannot act reckless and get the help we need. We must earn the right for those people who will boost us up. They're there, but if we do not appreciate them, we will lose out every time. Now, we can look at the ideal family. From the day of marriage, the woman has to start preparing for the birth of her children. Adhering to the plan of her husband, she starts by putting some finances aside. Of course, she wants to have some funds of her own to give her a sense of well-being, that she does not always have to run to her husband every time an expense comes up. That is what he's there for, but she will still want to know that she can take care of herself to a certain degree, and he is in full agreement with it. They are pooling the resources and maintaining their budget in order to maintain expenses and the bills. But they are aware that this budget is also about saving, with the goal of the husband having to eventually carry the full financial responsibility when his wife leaves the workforce to be there for the children. As it pertains to the rooms, they have talked about the amount of children they want. They have agreed on the amount of years it would take before they can do so economically. They would use the time to get the rooms ready for the youngster's entrance. As far as her body, as the time draws near, she would also want to make sure that she gets her body ready for the pregnancy by making sure that she is in the best possible health. She ensures that her diet, mental and physical health are prepared for this wonderful transition. So now let's go into the fact that she's having a baby. On finding out that she's indeed carrying a new life inside of her, she would want to keep those fires burning between her and her husband and spend as much time being as romantic and as intimate as possible. These would be the last precious years of privacy between her and her husband for a long time, as the baby will demand a lot of her efforts and deplete her of her wifely duties. But the husband must be aware of the toll that first year will put on her as she seeks to wean that child who cannot do anything on its own for a while. The bonds must be established between mother and baby from the onset as she talks to the little one as it grows inside of her. Dad must join in the communication with the child and allow the fetus to get familiar with his voice. Note, it will sound so much different when the baby is inside that barrier from what it sounds like when they come face to face with their parents. That means that both parents will have to remind the baby of who they are so that the baby connects face with voice and touch. While pregnant, mother is reading to the child and playing little games as the child is with mother. The game of guess what body part is pressing a bulge on your tummy, mommy? And mommy, oh, guess how I'm feeling today. Mother is looking at a medical book to see what part is growing out each day as the fetus morphs from a sperm and egg to a kidney shape and then eventually into human form. She's telling the baby that she recognizes each part because scientists has done such a good job of studying human baby development and has specific details of each stage that the fetus is in. She's getting anxious to know the gender of the baby because she wants to have the right colors for the child to wear. Pink for the girl and blue for the boy. Who came up with that color scheme anyhow? Yet, she cannot buy another color because the stores follow this guide and she does not have time to argue. And then the moment of truth arrives and she is holding that wonderful bundle of joy with his 10 toes and 10 fingers intact. She takes him home and wonders if he can see her and hear her, but have to wait a while before the test is conclusive. He sleeps so much that she's not sure. He coos when she feeds him and changes poopy diaper and seems content when she cuddles him before putting him down for a nap. Proud daddy is there every step of the way and forgoes work to be with his son. He's so proud of his manly prowess and boasts to anyone that will listen about the son he has produced. Mother lets him have his moment in glory as this is his way of participating in the whole process. Her heart swells when she hears him tells his son to hurry up and grow up so they can have some meal-to-meal time together. She gets up in the night and finds the space beside her empty and finds her husband hovering over the sleeping child who turns and cries for a feed. Most nights she have to get up and get the child for one of the many breastfeedings, but this night he brings the baby to her and allow her to lean on him as she nurses the hungry, helpless infant. A flash of the camera captures that precious moment, and then his snoring indicates that he must get some rest before heading out to work later in the morning. Between naps, mother struggles to clean the house, get a shower, and prepare meals. Some days she can get it all done and read gently to her son. Other days he is as fussy as he's adjusting to the new atmosphere. Doctor's visits remind her that he had been safely cocooned inside of her for the last 9 months, and this world has many threats that can compromise his system. So she maintains her visits to ensure that he gets the shots he needs at the relevant age. She knows that he must be vaccinated against all kinds of diseases, although they're not so prevalent anymore. And in that first year, she requires his first. It is an exciting year as she watches when he eventually rolls over and can sit up on his own. He can now hold his bottle and feed himself. He can put the spoon into his mouth without spilling too much food. When she puts him down on the floor, he can get up on his hands and knees and crawl. She's there to see him pull himself up on the furniture and gingerly crosses from one place to another. And then the moment of truth arises when he takes that first stumbling step between her and her husband. She and Daddy try to get it all on camera. The failed attempts, the falls, the cries, all those efforts for him to gain his independence and confidence. They shatter him to protect him at times and then allows him to figure out it all on his own. They try to record all of his movements. Thank God for technology. She's happy to see him engage in picture books she still reads to him and watch as he clumsily tried to play with and test out toys. Both Dad and Mom proudly watch him explore his world, certain now that he can see and hear and walk. They welcome his inquisitiveness but are quick to put up objects out of his reach that can hurt him. Dad wants to play rough with him now that he's balancing better on wobbly legs, but Mom is not so sure and pleased with him to wait a little longer as his body is still supple. It was hard for Dad to hold him and bathe him, but he tries and helps out with feeding as his son gets older. Now he cannot wait to get the boy outside as his son is walking more strongly day by day. Mother listens as babbling sounds become more legible. She can engage in conversation with him and help him pronounce those difficult syllables. The books and verbal conversations are paying off. She makes sure to teach him manners and to say thank you, please, and you're welcome. They take time to take him to church to be blessed. They have daily devotions so that he can also learn about his Heavenly Father. Mom reads bedtime stories that let him know about the love of Jesus and the Holy Spirit that is within him. He's given a healthy diet that is filled with soft foods, lightly cut, smashed, or pureed, consisting of ground provisions and vegetables. As he reaches the 2-year mark, his speech is improving and he's ready to move on to being potty trained at the age of 3. Mom has been his first teacher. She has been reading to him and working with him to know the alphabet and numbers. She has taught him colors, shapes, animals, and objects. He's primed and ready for school as he moves towards the age of 4. When the moment of school arrives, his parents instill in him that they're always still available. There's no need for him to enter daycare because Mom is there at home to take care of the child, and Dad does not want him to be in that kind of environment. His son is just about to turn 4 years old, and Dad steps in for the next year to build on all that Mom has been doing for the last 3 years. His son is strong and active and needs some rough and tumble activities as Mom has been fretting about his hyperactivity during the day and her inability to keep up with his energy. So Dad takes off some more time from work to give Mom a break. He takes his son out and play ball with him, and they explore parks, go to the beach, or just scuffle all day long. Other time, Dad sits and watches shows on television and talk about what they're watching. Dad also takes them out with other friends and their sons for the day and engage in manly activities and sports. Mom welcomes the break and know it is time for her to have a daughter, and her husband agrees. But there are many of us of African descent that are now being stereotyped with those who act barbaric and unintelligent. That felt-like behavior is not what we want represented of our culture anymore. That is not God's way. That is not the American way. It is time to build a culture that is peaceful, loving, and kind. Thank you.